All right, guys. Confidence intervals, chapter 7. We learned this already, but here's the video lecture of what I taught in class. What is a confidence interval? A confidence interval is a specific interval estimate of a parameter determined by using data obtained from a sample and using a specific confidence level of the estimate. Basically, you want to estimate what the parameter is by using information obtained from the sample. But what is a parameter? Well, if you go back to chapter 3, a parameter is a value that represents the population. And the parameter, change my highlighter back to yellow, is denoted by the population mean. And the population mean is mu. Population mean. So basically, we're trying to estimate the population mean, sometimes referred to as the true mean, by using information obtained from the sample. Now, a confidence interval is made up of several things. It's made up of a point estimate, and we need to understand what an interval estimate is, and then we need a confidence level. A point estimate is a specific numerical value estimate of the parameter. The best point estimate of the population mean is the sample mean. It makes sense. When you are doing research, you are taking a sample from the population and performing your experiment or your study. So, the information that you get from your study, you want to try to apply it to the overall population. So keep this in mind. When it asks you, hey, what is the point estimate of the population mean? Well, that is the sample mean. An interval estimate of a parameter is an interval or a range of values used to estimate the parameter. This estimate may or may not contain the value of the parameter being estimated. So when you are utilizing your confidence interval, there is a chance, a likelihood. And remember, chance and likelihood is another way of saying probability. There is a probability that the actual true mean will not be in the confidence interval. When we're doing confidence interval, we need a confidence level. And the confidence level is usually a percentage. And from this percentage, you get what is called a critical value. And the critical value is known as a standardized score. And we're going to see how to find critical values in a little while. The confidence level of an interval estimate of a parameter is the probability that the interval estimate will contain the parameter, assuming that a large number of samples were selected and the estimation process on the same parameter is repeated. So when you have a confidence level like 95% confidence or 99% confidence, based on the percent of confidence and also some other information that we need, we can then determine what is going to be our critical value, which is a standardized score. All right. 3 properties of a good estimator. It is unbiased. That means everyone in the population has an equal chance of being selected, which means the sampling is at random. When you perform the confidence interval, your data is consistent. What is the point of prediction? What is the point of estimating if our data isn't consistent, if it doesn't make sense, if the data isn't reliable? And it is an efficient estimator. which means the variation is pretty small. Remember, back in chapter 3, we went over the measures of variation, and it says the higher the level of variation, the less consistent the data is. What's the point of having high variation? You want low variation. Okay. And the last thing that we're going to learn about in this first video, which is the introduction to confidence intervals, is the margin of error, also known as the maximum error of the estimate. And this right here is the maximum likely difference between a point estimate of the parameter and the actual value of the parameter. So basically, it is how far you will go in each direction from your point estimate to predict your parameter. All right, guys. So this is the introduction to confidence intervals. Basically, you're making an estimate of the true mean, the population mean, using information obtained from the sample. In the next video, we're going to learn how to find the critical values of a confidence interval when the population standard deviation is given to us. And then we're going to perform some confidence intervals. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.